good Thursday morning. Subway Series Game 2 at Citi Field last night. And the Mets had their moment. The Yankees had their negative moment. The Yankees probably should have never lost that game the way that Garrett Cole was pitching and, of course, the way that the Mets had been playing. But they did, and the Mets come back, and Brandon Nimmo has a really, really good moment. And they walk off, and they throw the gum, and they feel like they have a night where they feel good about themselves. So the conversation continues. It's always the same talking points when you root for a team that stinks and then they have a good night. Is this going to be the thing that turns them around? We had some fun with it last time. The pivot spot, the launching off point, all of those things. I don't believe that is the case. It was a nice night for them, but I don't think that this is going to last. And for the Yankees, that's an annoying loss. Really annoying loss. And if you could have snuck another one out there in the win column without Aaron Judge, it would have been great, and they probably should have done that and didn't get it done. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
I'm doing great, G, and I thought you were detached. I didn't think you were really...
I am. I didn't say... I paid attention to the game. Did it sound like I was emotional about the game?
No, it doesn't. I just thought you weren't even paying attention because you didn't want them to ruin the summer.
We have to do the show, I can't do that, and I was kind of watching from a Yankee perspective more than anything because at least they'll have a shot to maybe do something. I believe in the postseason, if Aaron Judge comes back sooner than later, I think they can get in and maybe make some noise. But as far as the Mets, I'm paying attention, just emotional detachment.
All right, so here for me, the last two games were highly entertaining. They had a little bit of everything in both games. Starting pitchers that couldn't really get out of the fifth inning in the first game. Starting pitchers who pitched great last night. Bullpens failed. The Yankees bullpen who's got the best bullpen. The team that's got the best bullpen in the major leagues, and they were talking about that last night on the broadcast. They couldn't hold on to the lead. You had Brandon Nimmo, all over the place. You had Jeff McNeil being called for being on the wrong side of second base, which was asinine. You had guys diving for balls. You got IKF stealing home plate. The last two baseball games were amazing baseball games. The amount of things that happened in these games was crazy. And I know that the Mets made some mistakes. I know they made some errors. I know that whether it be base running errors, fielding errors.
A lot of that stuff this year, man.
You got Vientos over there making two nice picks, and then you got Jeff McNeil throwing the ball over to him, trying to complete a double play, and he can't hold on to it, and a run scores. It was, I have to say, the last two games were, the first game was frustrating because of what happened with Scherzer from a Mets fan's perspective. But from 10,000 feet as a baseball fan, these two games were really entertaining.
Yeah, they were. They were competitive. A lot of stuff, a lot of energy. Of course, the crowds are always good for these Subway Series games. But you bring up some of the mistakes, and like the Brandon Nimmo, getting caught off second base there in that situation is just...
But here's the thing, why?
It's just so inexcusable. What is he doing?
I don't know if Eduardo Perez knows Brandon Nimmo or not, and I guess that's the hole in his game is base running. I don't know. He's always going 100 miles an hour. He's always going. I will never, ever criticize him because he gives us his greatest and best effort all the time.
I'm not criticizing effort, but this is a silly situation where you can take the lead in the game.
I could also argue that if the umpire calls him safe in this situation, that they wouldn't have overturned it, that he would have been out with the replay. But since the umpire called him out, and the play was so close, I don't think there was definitive evidence that he was safe.
I agree with that.
All right, so here's the thing. What I don't like as a former athlete, I used to play. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard.
Is when athletes are not going 100%. If a Gleyber Torres is like jogging out a ground ball to the shortstop or something like that, that bothers the hell out of me. You know that.
Yeah.
But there was nobody that was dogging it in any of these games. Everybody was going 100 miles an hour. They all know how important it is to the fan bases that they win these games. There were some great plays. There were some great defensive plays. There was some clutch hitting from guys who aren't normally clutch or haven't been clutch. There have been some strikeouts. There have been some superstars that didn't come through when they could have come through. So I don't know. I thought the games were really, really entertaining. And if you want to go piecemeal by piecemeal, inning by inning, and look at the player that made a mistake, I don't want to do that either. But I thought they were.
What, you were about to do that?
No, I wasn't about to do that. I just thought that they were really entertaining baseball games, and that they were played like playoff games. That's what I felt like the guys were playing like. It wasn't a middle of the year, middle of June type of game. That these games obviously meant something to both of the teams, the players, the managers, and we can get into all the managed decisions of whether or not to pull a guy, to leave him in, take him out, matchups, and all this other crap. But I thought it was entertaining 2 days.
Yeah, so last night Steve Cohen tweeted, "That was a crazy game. Too many mental mistakes, but I will take it." So even he is up there saying, why are we making some of these mental errors out there, which is something that they didn't do last year. Remember the big talking point that we had about Buck was, man, this team is so smart, fundamentally sound. They're playing Buck ball. I mean, they're overly prepared. And then this year, it's like there's been so many of these instances where it doesn't feel like they are locked in. Or maybe they're thinking too much and then screwing things up, whatever it may be.
It was interesting. Like the other night, Brandon Nimmo should have had the fly ball to center field. Then last night, they're playing well in the infield. They're getting a couple double plays. Vientos is making some nice scoops over there. Mm-hmm. Then they try the double play, and Jeff McNeil kind of throws it wide right, of Vientos.
Yeah, he's just got to eat that in that situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then he also gets called for being on the other side of second base. Then Brandon Nimmo gets thrown out.
Well, I think the other side of second base thing was ridiculous.
Right. Then IKF steals home plate on Brooks Raley, who's going into the windup, and nobody, and I got to give again the guys in the booth a lot of credit because nobody on the Mets is screaming saying, hey, this, IKF's coming down the third baseline.
Well, I mean, Francisco Alvarez stood up because he could see it, and he was prepared to make a tag, and Raley didn't know what the hell was going on, I guess, because he really wasn't paying attention because he wasn't, he's going from the full windup, as you mentioned. And IKF, it's a great heads-up play by him, and he got it done. He said after the game, I can't believe I actually did that. And that's got to be one of the more exhilarating things to accomplish. A straight steal of home.
Yeah,
I mean he was probably so. I mean he was. You saw how fired up he was, but that was probably a really cool moment for him.
Did you see the umpire fall on his ass? And
yes.
On top of that, I don't know if Raley actually saw him out of the corner of his eye and then tried to hit the batter or what.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But he clearly was confused, and the ball went sailing. And I mean Alvarez. I mean, you would think that Brooks Raley, as long as he's been playing baseball, when he saw Francisco Alvarez stand up like that it means that the runner's coming down third, and he's trying to steal home. But, the thing sailed, and that was that, and it shouldn't happen. Just the stuff like that should not happen.
And there was that situation where Verlander threw a great curveball, and it should have been called a strike, and it wasn't called a strike. And then, of course, the Yankees played a run that inning.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know. David Cohn caught it. He caught it on the second replay. I think actually before the replay, then he felt like it was a strike too. And then they went back and showed it, and it was clearly a strike. So
yeah.
It was a little, I don't know. The game had a little bit of everything. The last two games had a little bit of everything. Some guys stepped up and, shined in these games. Other guys, basically wilted in these games. But they were highly competitive, highly interesting, a lot of different decisions by the managers. And I don't know. I thought that's what middle of June baseball. If every game were like that, it would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the division that the Yankees are in right now.
How about the division the Mets are in?
Well, yeah, that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the Yankees for me it's even more interesting because the Yankees are 9 games above 500, and 9 games out of first, where the Mets are 4 games under 500. And are 10 games out of first. And, of course, you also have the Baltimore Orioles, which you are 5 in the loss behind as well at 9 games over 500. Now, I mean, the NL East is you got the Braves are 8-2 in their last 10. The Mets are 2-8 in their last 10. You got Philadelphia 8-2 in their last 10. The Miami Marlins 7-3 in their last 10. And the Mets are now in 4th place looking up at those 3 teams. So, just look at that. If that was shown to you, the standings right there that CBS Sports Network has up, the NL East standings was shown to you the beginning of the season, and it said, all right, June 15th, this is what we're looking at. What do you think you would have said would have been the biggest problems with the team would have been? Because I would have said injuries. Definitely injury. They probably all got hurt.
I think that would be one of the things, yeah. And quite frankly, Verlander did not start in the rotation as the season started. We forget that. Scherzer was a 10-game suspension. And he also had some other, ailments.
ailments.
And then, of course, now you have Alonso on the shelf.
Yep.
So they do have some injuries. I don't think they have the injuries nearly what the Yankees have been dealing with.
No, not at all. And they were healthy for the most part early on, and we talked about it before the Alonso injury. They're starting 9, including the DH. Was basically healthy. I mean, other than the rotation with Verlander in the beginning, and obviously Quintana and Carrasco, those guys. But the position players were healthy. And they just have not been getting the job done. But yet, last night they seemed happy.
Tommy
so
Pham's been getting the job done.
Yeah, he has been.
And, I don't know what they're doing with Vogelback. They're giving him a mental break.
Well, they said they were getting him away from the game. And
is he there or where? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he spoke yesterday, actually.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, I think he spoke. I mean, they're trying to do everything. I don't know what it is. I'd love to know who the person is that's like really defending Daniel Vogelback, because there has to be one person who's got his back in that order. Is it Billy Epler? Is it Buck Showalter? Is it Steve Cohen? Is there somebody who's like, man, we got to get this guy right? Man, I really love Daniel. We got to get him right. It'd be awesome. There has to be someone's got to love him. Now, I know that the lefties and Vogelback and you don't have like they don't feel like they've got a lefty that could just jump right in there and take his spot, whatever. But you got to be able to do better than him, and they haven't. They're trying to squeeze everything out of him. So much so they're having him not play to try to come back and play better, which I don't think I've ever seen that. I mean, have you ever seen that? Get away from the game for like 10 days?
I mean, they basically were reporting it last night as a mental break.
Basically, yeah. That's what they said, to get him away from the game.
I mean, I
kind
of get the mental support aspect of it, but I also know that you got other guys on the team that you got to win games, man. And, by giving a guy a mental break is not a way that you're going to win games right now.
Well, he stinks. It doesn't matter if he's on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's out of the lineup. That's what we wanted.
I know.
Was him out of the lineup.
Look, we have to be sensitive.
Yeah, no.
Just be a little bit sensitive.
I'm talking about his performance on the field. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anything else that's going on. I'm talking about his performance on the field.
Right, and because they're giving him a mental break, and because he is not in the lineup, he is not in any way, shape, or form helping the team right now. How are you helping the team win games? If he's on a mental break, put him on IL.
Well, he's also not. He wasn't helping the team when he was playing either.
Yeah, I know that, but all I'm saying is, if you're going to give a guy a mental break and you're claiming that's why he's not in the lineup and not playing, then put him on the IL. Yeah. I mean, there's got to be an IL spot for somebody who's having a mental breakdown or something.
Well, I don't think he's having a mental breakdown. I don't think that's what they said.
Well, they're giving him a mental break. What does that mean?
That means that they were trying to get him away from the game because he's in a horrible slump.
And they get him away, put him on a 10-day IL. There's got to be something. There's got to be something.
How about DFA? Because he can't help the team.
I know, but if they're not DFAing him,
right?
Then why not see if there is I don't know if there's a mental component to the IL. I don't know. But by him being in uniform, he's not helping the team.
Well, yeah, of course. It's a roster spot situation. Yeah. I mean,
it's hurting the team.
Sure.
Could use another relief pitcher, for God's sake, now that Drew Smith is suspended for 10 days.
That is true.
What the hell is going on with guys getting suspended? I mean, hey, Buck, control the team. Tell them they can't use the sticky stuff.
And he also did not get mad about this situation with Drew Smith either, really. He just sort of stood there and took it just like the Max Scherzer
thing. Guys, listen to the manager. Stop using the sticky stuff. Whatever they're doing something.
Well, he obviously disagrees with it to a point that he's not. I mean, so if Drew Smith comes out of the game and says there's nothing on my hand, and all his teammates say there's nothing on my hand, it's just a crazy umpire who's saying it, then Buck's probably saying they're not doing anything wrong, and I'm not letting things get out of control because I don't agree with what the umpires are saying.
It's not a crazy umpire that's saying it though, because I told you what he said yesterday after the game with the transcript, because I got the full transcript right here.
I know you read it. Yep,
and,
I heard it.
I'm just saying it's. You got all these other guys that are all into it as well, and all the umpires are into it, and they're like, "You're out of here. You're out of here." But again, This is the second pitcher that has now been suspended for 10 days.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
and that leaves the bullpen shorthanded, and you got a guy on a mental break.
Things have not gone well for the Mets this season. It has not gone well. But last night was a nice little moment, wasn't it?
I thought the last 2 games, even though we lost the first one, with IKF stealing home plate, Volpe, coming through with a big hit. I mean, there's a lot of things I like about a lot of guys that usually are on everybody's radar negativity-wise.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and I guess
Tommy
it was
Pham, that was great. And, of course, Brandon Nimmo getting the game-winning hit last night. I was very happy for him because he had a really wild 2 days.
He did, yeah, of course, with the misplay and then the getting caught off a second, but then, of course, the walk-off hit off the wall there with Escobar, by the way, and I understand that he can't just go. He can't just run. He has to be careful, but I mean, he really waited for a long time. It was nerve-wracking to get him home because...
Well, that's the way it should have ended. I mean, that's, I don't know what to tell you other than it was exciting.
Yeah.
And, I ended up staying up an extra hour because of it, but...
What else is new?
And by the way, Garrett Cole's throwing 99 miles an hour in the sixth inning.
I thought he was going to pitch a perfect game. I really did.
99
he
miles an hour in the sixth inning. That guy's a beast, man.
Yep, absolutely. And you almost take it for granted at this point. It's almost gotten to that point where he's just so consistent and so good that you take him for granted.
I'm not taking him for granted. I mean, he's doing everything his contract says he should be doing. He's a beast. He goes out there and he gave up the one hit. You could see that he was just absolutely floored by that. But I don't know. It's not like the pieces of garbage we have pitching for us, right?
Pieces of crap, as Evan Roberts said. Yes, pieces of crap. All right, it's Boomer and Gio. Piece of crap. Not pieces of crap. Piece of craps.
They have family, too.
Piece of craps.
Did you see the people attacking Evan because of that?
I saw Andy Martino attack him. Yes.
Yeah.
I even believe Stephen A. Smith responded to that as well. I think that he did.
That's good. I'm glad he just responds to everything.
He does.
Great, yes.
He responded to the boobs at the White House too. I saw. He's responding to everything.
Yeah, we should all respond to the boobs.
Boobs at the White House. Evan Roberts. All topics there for Stephen A.